There are two big topics that we need to discuss in today's video, and we need to talk about whether these things are concerning for Palantir investors and whether or not they change the investment thesis for me. Let's get into it. The first one is insider selling. Now, there is no denying that over the last few months, there has been some insider selling of Palantir shares. We have seen everyone from the CFO to the CEO to presidents to other board members selling some of their Palantir shares. Before we jump into the details and the nitty-gritty of this, I think that we need to specify how important context is here. We have to understand the reasons as to why those people are selling. We have to understand when they're selling, and we have to understand what is going on with the stock at the time that they're selling. And we have to figure out whether the amount of shares that they are selling are actually a large portion of their overall investment, because they may be selling thousands of Palantir shares, but those thousands, it seems like a big number on the page, but actually that may only equate to 2% of their entire Palantir holdings. All these things help give us insight, and it shows us whether or not, as Palantir retail investors, we need to be sounding the alarm, or whether actually this is pretty innocent. First things first, who has actually been selling? We've had filings from Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir, who is probably the most notable Palantir name, the person that you think of when you think of Palantir, alongside maybe Peter Thiel. On the 20th of November 2023, we learned that Alex Karp has sold 585,000 shares at $21.50, which resulted in just over $12.5 million. We know the journey that Palantir stock has been on this year so far, and we know that selling at $21.50 is pretty good timing if he was trying to do that. Shyam sold on different occasions, resulting in over 500,000 shares, and we had Ryan Taylor as well selling just over 200,000 shares. Alongside that, Peter Thiel, we learnt not that long ago that he sold a couple of million Palantir shares from one of his VC funds. And that was just under the $20 mark. But I also believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know this for certain, but I remember seeing something where it said that he had also been buying Palantir shares quite recently. There's been some other board members that have been selling some of their shares too, and also Stephen Cohen and David Glazer. We'll come back to those two in just a minute. Now, one thing that I want to say that is really important here is that Alex Karp and many of these other members that I've just named still own a lot of shares after their sales. I mean, a lot of shares. When you look at it as a percentage, they weren't shifting, they weren't dumping all of their Palantir shares and saying, you know what, no thank you, see you later. It looks more strategic than that. And when we think about the two main people that you may associate with Palantir, being Alex and Peter, they haven't been dumping all of their shares. They still own a substantial amount of shares in this company. But even so, they have been selling some. So we have to ask ourselves, well, why have they been selling any at all? Well, there are a number of reasons that we could pick from as to why all these board members and these insiders have been selling out of their Palantir positions, although for the majority, like I keep saying, they're not selling out of their entire position, they're just selling a small percentage of what they own. But for a lot of these, it seems very pre-planned. Maybe some restricted stock sales, but do you know what? I think what has happened most likely here is just these people are seeing what's happened to Palantir stock over the last year. It's up like 200% year to date or something crazy like that. They are talking with the people that they trust with their money. They are organizing their personal finances. They know that the end of year, their end of year tax planning is happening. And they're thinking, actually, probably take some profit off the table now. How likely is it that Palantir stock, even if we believe in this company, we have faith in our company for the future, how likely is it that we will have another chance to take profit off the table after a 200% increase year to date? And you've got to remember as well, these people, they didn't buy Palantir stock last year. They've owned this for a long time, many years. So their average price compared to what it is now is vastly different. And when we think about what the stock's been doing recently, well, it's had a massive run up, of course, and now it's started to pull back slightly. We don't know if that's going to continue. We can't predict the market, but it seems like a lot of call options were executed at the $20 mark, and that has caused some decline on the stock. So do we need to worry? In my opinion, I don't think so. I'm not concerned about Alex Karp selling, a percentage of his Palantir shares, taking profit off the table after the massive run up it's had. It makes sense. He's probably being advised to do that. But remember, he's not just selling all of his Palantir shares. And at the time that he's selling that $21.50 mark, that is a big profit for him. Having said that, and having specified how important I think context is here, if we continue, let's just say, hypothetically, that Palantir stock, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, starts dropping and it continues to drop into the new year and it reaches maybe the $10 range, maybe the $9 range. Let's just say that happens. If at that point, when it's around the $9 range, we start seeing board members and many of them selling substantial amounts of shares, I think that would warrant further investigation and maybe even concern. And remember, when we're looking at Peter Thiel in particular, and we see him selling Palantir shares from his VC funds, that comes with loads of other factors to consider and loads of other reasons. But we need to just talk about Stephen Cohen and David Glazer. Stephen Cohen sold 45,000 shares, making $8.7 million. He also had a significant sale where he converted 656,100 Class B shares to Class A shares, and then he sold those Class A shares. Even after that transaction, he still owns a substantial 12.55 million shares of the Class B stock. So there's some considerations there as to why he would convert one class to another and then sell. There are some legit reasons why he may do that. But from what I can tell, again, do your own research, have a look online, see what you can find. He does still own a significant amount. But one person that does seem to be selling a great deal of his Palantir shares is David. Now, from what I can see, he has sold a lot. I'm talking like 99% at this point of his total Palantir holdings. I'm not sure why. I guess he just has his personal reasons, but what does give me some confidence is that he is a lone wolf in this. It doesn't seem to be the rest of the board doing this as well. Maybe he just has a very legit reason as to why he would suddenly need to sell all of his Palantir shares for, personal life factors. Maybe there's some sort of misalignment with the company he has now. I don't know. But it does give me confidence that not everyone else is doing this, and he is a very much a lone wolf in his sales. But please do your own research and see what you can dig up on that. Now, the second topic of conversation we need to cover is an institution, a company that has also been parting its ways with a lot of Palantir shares. And that is Sompo. If you have no idea who they are the largest Japanese insurance company. And it seems like their sale was one of the main reasons as to why Palantir stock dropped so much again yesterday. So on their sale, they made a profit of 86 billion yen, which equates to about $584 million. So however many shares that equates to is a lot. It's a very, very significant sale, and it probably is a legit reason as to why Palantir did decline in stock price a little bit yesterday. You can see here that they did not disclose details on their remaining stake in Palantir, but there's a few things to understand here, and that is that they have a relationship with Palantir in terms of being an investor in Palantir, but they also have a partnership with Palantir whereby they actually use Palantir's software. You can see it says the insurer had invested $500 million in Palantir in June 2020, a few months before the US firm went public through its DPO. And they actually signed a deal to expand their contract with Palantir back in February. And I believe hundreds of their staff across 300 long-term care facilities are utilizing Foundry. Because of these details that we know, I think it's very, very safe to say that Sompo aren't concerned about Palantir's future. They still have faith in the company. They still believe in the future trajectory of Palantir, and they believe in everything they're doing, and they're seeing the value because they are working with Palantir and they renewed a contract. But again, why are they selling this amount of shares? Being an insurance company, being a large institution, probably, I imagine, just to take profit. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. If you want to continue this conversation and discuss Palantir as an investment, everything that's going on in the company and other stocks with myself and like-minded investors, please come and join the Patreon. It's £3 or the equivalent every single month. You'll also get portfolio updates every Saturday, and you'll get notified every single time I make any moves in my portfolio buy or sell any stocks. I hope to see you guys over there soon. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll be back with another very soon.